It's not an unreasonable question.
No, it is not.
Monty the Squirrel. Can we get that done up by the end of the show? And I'm in favor of your mom sewing the costume this time.
You are?
Yes.
Are you watching?
Paula?
She's probably watching.
What's going on back here? They're all laughing back there.
Because then you paused. And I was like, this in favor of her. What?
I know. I heard them bust out laughing. I'm like, what are you?
And then you sewing the costume, and it's like, just disarmed me. I'm like, okay, we're good. She can sew the costume.
I'm in favor of your mom.
What? Say it. Say it.
Right now.
I'm wearing headphones, rocking it back, old school radio days.
How about that?
And somebody said it looks like I'm plugged into a Walkman. And I remember when I got my first Walkman, because my brothers and I had to share it. And I was the youngest, so how often do you think I got it? And you had your case of cassettes, and then people started to crap on your music selection. And I'm like, then bring yours then! How many times did we have that conversation at parties?
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Yes, it is. Hi, everybody. I'm going to say again, Happy New Year. The gang is all back together. Welcome to Canada's daytime sports talk show. It is episode number 1408 of the RP show here on Game Plus. And just to prove that, hi, Darren, that we are live, there is breaking news. This will be the only time I mention it. Justin Trudeau is stepping down as the Prime Minister of Canada. This will be for everything non-Trudeau over the next 2 hours, okay? It's not a political show, even though it is airing on national Canadian television. God knows you're going to hear enough of that. So that's the big news. Moose, we have a lot to get to. I'll just say, how was your weekend? Are you ready to rock and roll?
Great weekend. And yeah, ready to roll. I'm in a fantastic mood this morning.
Good. Well, we got the gang back together. Like I said, the IKS crew is here. Guys, can you hit the quick six show horn and we'll get down? Yeah. The boys are here.
That?
The boys are back in town. Alyssa Houde will be joining us coming up later on in the program in hour two, as a matter of fact, from Winnipeg Sports Talk and her new women's hockey podcast called Chel, Chit Chat. Women talking about the NHL. She's coming up in hour two. So, yeah, again, if you're just settling in, Justin Trudeau is stepping down as the Prime Minister of Canada. And to be honest, my intuition's saying, stop talking, Rod. There's enough channels talking about it. So let's get into Canadian sports and the big story. I got a lot of things to get to here. I'm not going to spoil the surprise other than there's a lot of NFL, NHL, World Juniors, NBA, yeah, and all the rest. So number one, the big story is this. Listen, it doesn't matter where you're living. The NFL is the big story. In the road to the Super Bowl, at least in the NFC, is going to go through Motown. The Detroit Lions secured the number one seed with a 31-9 thrashing of the Minnesota Vikings Sunday night. Jahmyr Gibbs scored 4 touchdowns to lead the Lions, earn a first-round bye and home field throughout the playoffs. The Vikings ended up with a 5th seed with the loss, and they will go on the road against the Rams 1 week from tonight. And the Denver Broncos and Tampa Bay Buccaneers clinched the NFL's final 2 playoff berths yesterday. So I understand there are firings on this Black Monday. There were firings last night. There were owners stating that there will be no changes with their specific team. So it was a wild Sunday and now a wild 24 to 36 hours in the National Football League. But the big game, the biggest game ever, Darren, in NFL history last night, regular season, was a dud. I thought the Lions controlled it from the opening kickoff to the end. So that was a bit of a dud. I would have liked to have seen a closer game. What were your takeaways from the final Sunday of the NFL regular season?
Yeah, I would have liked to seen a little more from Sam Darnold. That's a disappointing finish for him. It was close, into that third quarter and through the third quarter on the scoreboard, but it really wasn't. You're right, on the field, it was a bit of a dud. And he missed open looks to Justin Jefferson, to Jalen Addison. There was some looks there. Couldn't finish it off. And at the end of the day, the Lions earned this. First time, I believe, ever. Number 1 seed. Really feel good for them. And I know Dan Campbell, after the game, told Kevin O'Connell, we'll see you in round 2. See you in a couple of weeks. Because he expects to see them again. Very complimentary of the Vikings. So, we move on to the playoffs. I'm looking forward to it. A couple things surprising. A 10-win Seattle team doesn't get in. I know it's disappointing for Seattle fans, but you got to win to get in. And, I like, for me, the Buccaneers and Baker. That was a great story for me, getting Mike Evans in the final minute. The defense got the stop, and you saw Baker on the sideline getting excited. They get in there, and then you saw Mike Evans with 30 seconds left getting the 11th straight 1,000-yard season. Was great to see.
You did a really nice job of recapping what happened for the teams that have made it to the playoffs. We'll get to what's going on in the other markets in a second. But when I say the final Sunday in the NFL, I just want to tell you something. I spent it at the Palm Beach Kennel Club. First time ever. Ash, you've talked to Ash on the phone. He's a friend of mine, sports executive here. He's a senior. He don't mind me saying that because it's true. And I called him up. I said, let's go watch some NFL at the Palm Beach Kennel Club. I said, you and I get very rare time together, just the two of us. I'd never been there before, Darren. It sounds like a dog kennel. It's not. But it used to be a dog racing track. Now it's a casino, poker room, all this stuff up in Palm Beach. West Palm, not far from Trump's place, Mar-a-Lago. And I had a great time. And my friend Brent from Wellington, Florida, who's a little bit of a highfalutin, snooty kind of guy. That's just what he is. He was rubbing it in, making fun of me, saying, how did you enjoy the free buffet at the Palm Beach Kennel Club? Well, it wasn't free. If you make a $25 minimum, $25 bet, you get a free buffet. Dude, as I said to Ash, who lives not far from there, it's right by the Palm Beach airport, I said, look, I don't need to go to the Hard Rock to watch NFL on television. Because at the Hard Rock, Darren, you could have met Hard Rock Hotel and Casino here in the Miami area. I don't need the white tigers and the waterfalls and the fireworks and all that. You know what I mean? I don't need the tick, high heels on the marble tile. It's Vegas. It's Vegas. I don't need that. The Palm Beach Kennel Club, it's like the Four Seasons. There was fans from every team there. It was a lot of guys wanting to get out of the house, away from the significant other, and chat football, maybe bet on the off-track ponies, and have a nacho bar, which was free with a $25 bet. I had a great time. And Ash did too. So that was our NFL Sunday. It was fantastic. Just wanted to point that out. And by the way, I'm not going to Super Bowl in New Orleans this year. I might end up hosting and at the very least being at the Palm Beach Kennel Club Super Bowl party. So stay tuned for details on that. So real quickly, Darren, here are the matchups. Let's just pick our winners for fun. I won't hold you to it. I'm not even going to write it down. We'll do actual picks come Friday. Just off the top of your head, what do you think is going to happen here on Wild Card? The best weekend of football, they say, on the calendar. Saturday, Chargers at Texans. Who you got?
I like the Chargers. Big time.
I know you would. I'll take the Texans. But Chargers have some serious mo. I get it. Going. But I think the Texans will take it. Pittsburgh at Baltimore. Shouldn't have to be close, right? That's a Ravens roll.
No problems in Pittsburgh. I'll take Baltimore, yeah.
Yeah. Sunday triple header. Denver at Buffalo. Who do you like?
Very intriguing. I like Buffalo still, but Denver is going to be a problem.
Yeah, they're a problem. But the Bills are on a mission. Josh Allen's on a mission. They will win that one. Green Bay at Philadelphia. What you think?
Close. I like Eagles.
I like the Eagles too. Washington at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think the pumpkin turns into a glass slipper or whatever, however the hell that works. For the Commanders, I think the Bucs will roll. They've been in this position before. I take the Bucs to win. How about you?
It's a lot for a young quarterback. I'm with you on that. I think the Bucs should be favored and have the advantage.
And then it's Monday night, Viking Rams, and it sounds to me like you're picking the Vikings to win on the road, the 5th seed, next Monday night.
I am. They didn't beat the Rams. They lost to them in the regular season. It's been tough. Great coach, great quarterback. But I still think Minnesota will win a playoff game here. Yeah,
me too. So those are our very early picks. I'm not even writing them down. We'll do it officially on Friday. By the way, everybody, we're live on a Monday, episode number 1408 of Canada's daytime sports talk show. Yes, I understand that Justin Trudeau is stepping down as the Prime Minister of Canada. It's an historic day, but this is a sports show. I'm just passing along to prove to everybody that we are live. See, I think we're live. I was a little surprised last night surfing social media, which I'm going to do a hell of a lot less of moving forward. But I was surprised the amount of people that were watching hockey last night. But it is Canada, so I shouldn't. One thing Ash said over New York cheesecake on the buffet, one thing he said was, he goes, in Canada, really only hockey's big. And that's big. We're 80% plus of the population follow it. He goes, in America, every sport's big. And I'm like, I know. It's so cool. Having a bit of a problem keeping our mind on all of that. But again, more people watching the World Juniors final last night than I thought, considering the fact Canada wasn't even playing. But that's coming up in our quick six show topics here. We're live on the Game Plus television network. Hour one is brought to you by Culligan Water. Drink clean. Live green at Culligan Regina. Check him out at culliganregina.com. Now, for the non-playoff teams, bro, I'll just wind up this segment on this. We got 6 more minutes to everything else after this. There's just too much to talk about with the National Football League. The New England Patriots fired Gerard Mayo last night, even though they won. The Dolphins owner, Stephen Ross, announcing that they're keeping Mike McDaniel, the head coach, and general manager Chris Greer. Via a statement, the owner announced that people went nuts. Speaking of the Dolphins, Tyreek Hill says he wants out, and that's our poll question today. Producer Clark came up with that. For EMJ Marketing, they'll provide the perfect keeper for your event. Contact Joe at emjmarketing.com and peruse the roster there. Where do you think Tyreek ends up next year? Back in Kansas City? Back in Miami? With the New York Jets, because I just threw a team out there that's a grease fire and might be looking to sign somebody big. That's tend to be what the Jets do, or other. And leading the way is other. And we'll come back on that. Darren's Titans have secured the number 1 overall pick by virtue of their Sunday loss, season-ending loss. And the Cowboys have yet to decide on Mike McCarthy, yet it's sounding like he's going to be back. I mean, we all want to believe the best. We want to believe what we hear, despite however many times we've been lied to by the leaders. We keep thinking we're going to do the right thing, and they're telling us the truth, and we just never get it. I'm speaking as a Cowboys fan. You have not gotten into Landman yet, have you, on Paramount Plus?
Not yet. We don't have the Paramount. We're wrapping up a couple other shows, but not yet.
That's all good. Sorry to take the off-ramp, everybody, to Entertainment Town, but just stick with me. Out of all that stuff that I did yesterday, included in that was watching the latest episode of Landman, which is filmed in Midland, Texas. It streams on Paramount Plus. I think it might be better than Yellowstone. Billy Bob Thornton plays a land oil man. John Hamm's in it. Ali Larder's in it. And in episode 8 last night, Jerry Jones was in it.
Whoa.
And I won't tell you anymore. I don't want to be a spoiler. But it wasn't a cameo. He delivered a lot of lines. Just to give you a little of a teaser, he was at John Hamm's bedside. Came in as John Hamm's personal Texas oil buddy to see how John was doing health-wise. And Jerry delivered a lot of lines. And Serena turned to me and said, I'm surprised he's that good of an actor. And I said, he's been acting like a general manager for 30 years. So I'm not surprised at all. And that ain't even a joke. You don't even need to hit the pshoo, pshoo. So those are all for the non-playoff teams. There's a heck of a lot of stuff going on too. So where do you want to start with all that?
Yeah. So first of all, was Jerry Jones playing Jerry Jones, or he was playing somebody fictional?
Yes. Not only was he playing himself, he was dressed like Jerry. Blue suit, light blue shirt, royal blue tie. It was Jerry. It was all Jerry.
Okay. Unreal. The second is, you got to look at the non-playoff teams. Okay, Seattle, great, you're 10 wins. That's disappointing not to get in. Cincinnati not getting in, but you can't leave it in the hands of other teams, the Jets, namely, and, well, the Chiefs without all their starters. You can't leave it in their hands to get in. They fired their defensive coordinator, so they're going to make changes, but they're going to come back and they'll be fine depending on what they do with T. Higgins. That'll be the biggest question there. And in Tennessee getting the number 1 overall pick, I mean, that's a consolation for me. But what do you do with it, right? You've got Will Levis. Is he the future? What are they going to do as a coach or, with their coach? I think we're not sure completely. Probably bring Brian Callahan back. But maybe you'd be open to bringing somebody like Prime in if he would do it. Now, he says he's committed to Colorado, but I think a market like think about Nashville, where the team isn't exactly one of the top teams market-wise, brand-wise in the league. That's the type of organization that could use the prime shot of marketing and buzz, is a team like the Titans or somebody who's underserved, who isn't a big market, Green Bay or New York or LA or the Chiefs, one of these big market teams. Maybe it fits somewhere like Nashville.
Jeff, the Stamps fan, writes in. He says, don't spoil episode 8. Yellowstone and Landman are both great, but totally different shows. Yeah. You said it very well. They're both, though, fantastic, and I love Billy Bob Thornton. Love him in everything. BW says, could Coach Prime be traveling to Tennessee? I'll tell you what, when Mike McCullough was on our show last week, the two-time winning Grey Cup champion, Hall of Fame Saskatchewan Roughriders linebacker, he said, I don't want the Sanders family anywhere near my team. If I was an NFL owner, we made a meme out of that. It incited a race war. That if you know anything about Mike, he's not a racist. He doesn't like drama. And that's what you would be getting with. He's my financial planner, so I know him very well. And I also called his entire career on the field, so I know Mike really well. He's like, I don't want any of that circus. Oh, it really upset some of the former players, but that's Mike's problem to deal with, not mine. I'm just telling you, he's not a racist. Not getting into Trudeau comments, but nice try, everybody. John in Winnipeg says, is the coach the problem in Dallas, Rod? No, not at all. Even though I don't like Mike McCarthy, Jerry Jones is the problem in Dallas, and I don't want to spend any more time on this because you all know my thoughts on that. It's in my commentary today at rodpeterson.com, Darren. Cowboys missed the playoffs. We've known for realistically about a month they weren't going to make it. Jerry Jones was in Landman. He was interviewed at the Jake Paul-Mike Tyson fight in between fights. You think maybe there's a problem? Maybe you should be focused on running the football team. But as Ash said yesterday, the guy that I was with, who's a big money guy, is around these owners all the time, he goes, Jerry can do whatever he wants. Doesn't make it right, bro. It's like the owner of Regina Pats. He can do whatever he wants. Great. Meanwhile, they're last place in drawing 800 fans a game. Why do you go, man? Go. Meanwhile, the Cowboys are out of the playoffs again. I can do whatever I want because I got all the money and I own it. As we say in the recovery coaching world. How's that work for you? We'll be right back. We're live on the Game Plus television network, streaming live and podcasts wherever the best podcasts are found.
Sounds like he knows what he's doing a little bit.
As long as you're entertained. Aren't you entertained?
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Canada's premier Junior A Hockey League deserves premier coverage, and at IKS Media, we have you covered for all things SJHL. SJHL Weekly on Monday, a live broadcast across our social media platforms where we interview your favorite players and coaches from across the league and preview the upcoming week. And on Thursday, SJHL Insider, where we look ahead to the weekend that will be and cover everything going on across the league. Catch it all on our social media platforms or on sjhl.ca.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
Welcome to the Create Space at IKS Media. Meetings, podcasts, studio. Whether you're here to collaborate or educate, our versatile meeting places, workspaces, and studios await. Your next big idea starts here. Make our space your space. The Create Space at IKS.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
New year, same wonderful show. And by the way, folks, be sure to sign the Rod Squad newsletter today. Stay ahead of the game with exclusive insights, updates, contests, and exclusive content delivered straight to your inbox. Sign up for free today at rodpeterson.com. Moose is there in Toronto, where it's not quite as sunny as that. Just a quick dip in on the text line, 902-518-3033. Mark is watching in Burlington, Ontario on the Game Plus TV network, and he says, Rod, you and my brother talked me into checking out Landman. Great show. Oh, it's so good. I would not steer you people wrong. Brian writes in, he is watching in Winnipeg, Manitoba. He says, Luke Wilson is begging to come on your show. Make it happen. Luke Wilson is the Super Bowl winning tight end of the Seattle Seahawks, who I announced or suggested last week should be the next commissioner of the CFL. And Moosey's kind of run with it.
Yeah, he's the people's commish now, which I love. You know, he's having fun with it, and I think that's important. I hope he can handle. He's getting some heat, obviously, because everybody wants to either take this really seriously or, you know, as the only. I don't know. They just, again, have fun with this. It's not like he's actually up for the commissioner, and if he was, so what? You know,
well,
it's
exactly.
good to have people talking about the league in a fun way.
Well, somebody, we suggested this last week, and there ended up being like 40,000 views of the clip, which Luke Wilson shared himself. Super Bowl winning tight end from the Seahawks from LaSalle, Ontario. And somebody wrote in and said, that would be like having Gronkowski be the commissioner of the NFL. And would be the problem with that. What?
Yeah.
I share this with my friends here now because I do live in Florida. It is my home. And they talk about goofy, crazy things. And I'm like, you people voted in Ronald Reagan as the president. He was a movie star. And by the way, he was a great president. Okay, so who's to say this guy can't do that or this girl can't do that? Arnold Schwarzenegger was the governor of California, for the love of God. Okay, the Terminator. So, by the way, my friend Chris from the Bronx is texting. Listen, he's a good guy. He says, how long? He goes, okay, I'll say it. It's a great day for Canada, A. Just to prove that we're live again. Justin Trudeau has stepped down as Prime Minister of Canada. It's not a political show, so that was a private text that was not meant to be read on the air. But I know Chris won't care. I just don't like it. There's enough political shows out here. Let's keep it fun with sport. Stuff that's not that serious. Trust me, it's not. Speaking of Chris's New York Giants, Vancouver's Scott White writes, and he says the Giants messed up their draft position by winning in weeks. Can't even write. Their play said, and they've announced their coach and GM, by the way. There's just so much stuff coming out of the NFL. Week 18, the end of the regular season, bro. It's so darn exciting. We have not really talked about the Tyreek thing. He refused to finish the game for the Dolphins yesterday in their loss at the Jets. This town's going nuts. They want to burn the stadium down because the Dolphins, as it turned out, it wouldn't have mattered whether they won or not in New York because the Denver Broncos won their game to clinch. It's not the point. Tyreek bailed on his team, says he wants out. And that is our poll question for EMJ Marketing. Where do you think he'll land? And I never answered mine. I think he'll be back with Miami. You said this morning on a call, you've noticed that I've come with a lot more energy, a lot more open-mindedness in the 2025. I'm just letting stuff go. I've told you people a million times, don't take what anybody says on the last day of season at face value because it's emotional. But you all do. It's fine. Tom Brady said he was going to retire after that last game with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. His wife believed him. And then a couple of weeks later, he's like, I was just being emotional. I'm going to come back and play. Cost him his marriage. They should have never listened to what he was going to say. John Ryan, my good friend, said the same thing after his last NFL game. He ended up playing for 5 more years. Don't take what anybody says on the last day of the season at face value, yet people always do. So you know what? At your own peril, go ahead. I don't care anymore.
You can't do it. Like, again, but it's so hard not to, because when people speak, we want to listen and, believe that they're being truthful and all the rest. And in the moment, they might feel that way. But it's the same thing when you're at home and you have arguments with your partner. They're getting after you for something, and all you want to do is defend yourself. And that's not the point, because they're not thinking clearly. They're emotionally reacting. So sometimes you have to let them. You have to learn how to absorb things and just let it go. And then when you're both level-headed and clear, come back to the table and have a conversation, right? That's how it works. But when you get both emotional, then things happen and there's no coming back from it. And that's why Mike McDaniel was at the podium being like, okay, so what? Everyone's trying to get the juicy comment. Well, what do you think about Tyreek? Wanting him to attack back, and then you get a great fight between two partners. And he's like, no, he needs to vent and do what he's going to do. I'm going to just absorb that. But then we'll get together in the next couple of days after this loss is gone and the season's over, and we'll talk about it like adults. And maybe he does want to leave. Maybe he doesn't. But we'll talk about it when we're both level-headed. And that's, you can't read too much into what happens right after the season. We'll see in the next couple of weeks what.
Okay, so that's the last day of the season. Yeah, number 2, you shouldn't really put any stock into anything anybody says ever. And that's not a bad thing. That's not even a criticism, but I've referred many times to the banquet that I did with Daryl Sutter in Paradise Hill, Saskatchewan, where I said, will you ever coach again, Daryl? This was coming out of the LA Kings situation where he won 2 Stanley Cups. Imagine the Daryl Sutter look, right? Well, maybe if I only got to coach home games. So I took that to believe he'll never coach again unless he finds a deal where he only coaches home games. And then lo and behold, a year later, he's coaching the Flames. And I'm like, yeah, but he said, doesn't matter what he said. Let it go. Things change. More than anything, things change, which, by the way, is a topic for a whole other time. But I did get word on the weekend that Not that we needed confirmation, but it's true. Bill Belichick was in Jacksonville meeting with the Jaguars on the owner's boat, and they couldn't agree to a deal for their own reasons that we won't get into. But just imagine this. Bill Belichick was looking at his next opportunity before even coaching a game at the University of North Carolina. And would anybody be surprised by that? Absolutely not. But you tell me how you would expect a player to be loyal when the coach is ready to bounce at the next best chance. That's the world we live in. And that's not just sports, that's life. Let's move on. Point 4 on an exciting day for junior hockey in Ottawa. Both the gold and bronze medal finals required overtime and nerves of steel. The USA, with an overtime goal from little-used Teddy Stiga, repeated as world junior hockey champions with a 4-3 win over Finland. And Czechia, which eliminated Canada in the quarterfinals, scored a goal in the 14th round of a shootout to edge Sweden 3-2 to finish third. If I may, my friend Chris from the Bronx tells me that we lose him when we talk junior hockey, and I'm sorry, Chris, that's got to be a you problem, not an our problem. You understand? I love you, Chris. We're going to talk about this because, as I said last night, I was shocked with how many people that I know and follow on social media were watching USA Finland. I wasn't. I was like my buddy Jeff from Estevan. We talked on the phone on Saturday. We both agreed Canada's out. We don't care. Yet, my beautiful bride watched every game all weekend. Canada wasn't even playing. As Jeff said, you got a real unique one there. Don't I know it? But more than anything, USA wins the World Juniors again. They won it last year. Carlo Colajakovo, our good friend, former Leaf from TSN Radio in Toronto, if he's still on there, saying they should not be awarding medals on shootouts. Or actually, he said 3-on-3 overtime. The bronze went to a shootout. It is what it is, bro. The ice is rented. Can we stop bitching about everything? Let it go, Rod. We got a rec team coming in here at 10. We got to get them off the ice. We can't be playing 6 overtimes, okay, Carlo? Can you deal with it? Can you? Can you handle it? So I was watching football all day Sunday, but how much were you paying attention to what was going on?
Oh, I was paying attention for sure. I wasn't watching every second and every shift, but I was definitely paying attention. I mean, Finland was up 3-1 in that game, I believe, against the U.S. And I think a lot of Canadian fans were like, come on, Finland. I think we were all cheering for Finland. But the U.S. wins. And I think, to be honest, that's really, great for the game because next year it's in Minnesota. It's in the United States. They're trying to win 3 in a row. Canada's been bounced in the quarters back-to-back years. I think there's going to be a ton of pressure and it's going to be a ton of, heat in the kitchen. I think it's going to be really fun next year. I really do. The Americans are going to have a little swagger. Hey, you're in our barn now. We won 2 in a row. We're the kings of junior hockey, and depending on what happens at the Four Nations, geez, if they win gold at the Four Nations too, they're really going to be puffing their chests out, which will make this extra fun because we always walk in as Canada to the World Juniors thinking we're just going to roll through this. Well, now it's not so easy. So it should make it a lot of fun.
And have lost the last 2 and 3 of the last 4 to the USA.
Yeah.
And here's, I've got NHL scouts texting me, oh, it's not that bad. I think I mentioned this last week that we won the last 2 under-18s. We won the last Worlds. It's not that bad. You don't need to explain it to me, bro. I don't care. Tell it to your local friend that wants to jump off a building because Canada didn't win a World Juniors or didn't even medal at the World Juniors. You know what I mean? There is an issue there with Canadian hockey, but people want to blame the refs. They want to blame the coaches. They want to blame this. They want to blame this kid. They want to blame the CEO of Hockey Canada. Just blame. But that's why people are so screwed up right now because they look to sports as the answer, as the messiah, as this wonderful thing. It ain't. It doesn't make sense. And you sit there and lay awake at night and wonder why. I thought it was a results-based business. Why are the Dolphins bringing back their coach and GM? Why do the Cowboys want Mike McCarthy? It doesn't make sense. Let it go. NHL. By the way, this is why we've moved the guests. We're only going one guest today now. Move that guest into hour 2 because there's just too much stuff to get to. I was tired of cramming everything in and racing. This is better. We're spending more time on the topic. Now, I'm just going to skim the surface of this. We have to come back and discuss it after. But NHL leftovers coming out of the weekend. Morgan Riley scored a .225 of overtime Sunday, and the Toronto Maple Leafs won their fourth NHL game in a row by beating the Philadelphia Flyers 3-2. If the Leafs win the Stanley Cup, I'll be as happy as anybody, but they're not going to. Bo Horvat's second goal of the game, scored at 3:10 of overtime, lifted the Island a 5-4 win over the Boston Bruins. Sebastian Aho scored 90 seconds into overtime to give the Carolina Hurricanes a 4-3 win over the Pittsburgh Penguins. Winnipeg's Seth Jarvis scored twice for the Canes. On Friday, the Pittsburgh Penguins were here. I bought a ticket and went to the game because I wanted to feel it. It was 90s night. I caught a puck in warm-up. Did you see that on my social media? I didn't catch it.
Yeah.
I was sitting there on my phone, and a puck came over the glass and rattled around between my ding, 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 ding. I was like, wow, I couldn't even get that to happen when I wanted it to. It was a great time. Sidney Crosby is still the best player on the Pittsburgh Penguins, and I just love live hockey. I love when the Panthers are at home, and they're on the road now. They're at Colorado tonight. So we're going to get switched to the NHL. We're going to talk about some NBA leftovers. We do have a guest today. It's Alyssa Houde from Winnipeg Sports Talk coming up in hour 2. We'll be right back here on the Game Plus Television Network, streaming live and podcast wherever the best podcasts are found.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience, in the seats or streaming to you. IKS Live continues to bring you the best seat in the house. Canada's premier Junior A Hockey League deserves premier coverage, and at IKS Media, we have you covered for all things SJHL. SJHL Weekly on Monday, a live broadcast across our social media platforms where we interview your favorite players and coaches from across the league and preview the upcoming week. And on Thursday, SJHL Insider, where we look ahead to the weekend that will be and cover everything going on across the league. Catch it all on our social media platforms or on sjhl.ca.
Hi, my name is Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
Welcome to the Create Space at IKS Media. Meetings, podcasts, studio. Whether you're here to collaborate or educate, our versatile meeting places, workspaces, and studios await. Your next big idea starts here. Make our space your space. The Create Space at IKS.
From cash spiels to grand slams, club competitions to world championships, there's a lot to keep up with on the pebbled ice. Stay up to date with the Hardline Curling Show, your weekly source for everything curling, with the latest event results, breaking news, interviews with players, executives, and insiders, plus behind-the-scenes access you won't get anywhere else. Follow us on Facebook, X, Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube. Make sure you don't miss a thing.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Back at it on a Monday. It is Canada's favorite daytime sports talk show. We also air in 32 U.S. states, like this one, Florida, where I sit. We do have some breaking news from the CFL. More coming up in the next segment on the sports update. But the BC Lions announced this morning the team has acquired offensive lineman Dejon Allen in a trade with the Toronto Argonauts, two-time Grey Cup champ. Going the other way, and this is what caught my attention, Canadian linebacker Ryder Varga. He's from Regina. He's going to end their round 2 selection in the 2026 CFL draft. More on that coming up in the next segment. Moose, any thoughts before we plow ahead?
No, I think that's, it's fun to get a little off-season news in the Canadian Football League, and I'm a big Ryder Varga fan. He hasn't really had that at the next level yet, but maybe in Toronto, he was really good with the Rams, called a lot of his games.
Exactly. There you go. Boom. See, again, everybody, it's breaking news on a Monday. We're live. We're not into the Trudeau thing other than saying, yes, the Canadian Prime Minister has stepped down. Now, it's not like I don't appreciate it's an historic day, but we're a sports show. And by the way, Trudeau isn't really big into sports. That reminds me. You want to hear stories, including you, Scott from the Bronx, or Chris from the Bronx? We practiced, the Saskatchewan Roughriders, when I was with the team. I want to say it was 2016, 2017, on Parliament Hill. Remember that, Darren? Justin Trudeau came out and practiced with us. I spit you not. Trudeau practiced with us. I'm not joking. And he ran a couple routes.
Not an athlete.
Some passes at him. Our head coach, Chris Jones, we asked him after practice, what'd you think of the Prime Minister out there, Coach? I told him, don't quit your day job. Well, today he did.
That's just it.
You can't write this stuff up. Scott, you're thinking something, Darren. Go ahead. Look like you have something on your mind. No. This is too good.
No.
I got photos of it, man. I'll go find it. Scott in Vancouver writes in. He says, Rod, how much are Panthers tickets now? $4 with a hot dog and a beer and free parking? Guy, we're kind of over that. So chill out. How many cups you got out there in Vancouver? I'll wait. Just so you know, through SeatGeek, I paid $60 for the ticket. And dude, it was actually $40 plus $20 in fees. Don't get me going. And I do have a parking pass for the Panthers. So I don't know what it would have been for parking. So, yeah, it was the cheapest. It was a nosebleed ticket. Okay? I just wanted to be in the building and feel it. I could have got a press pass, but I'm like, you know what? I was meeting a friend there, and I'll just buy a cheap ticket. That's what I did. So $40 is what you could have it for, but with the apps and the fees, it came out to $60. I think that's pretty good, Darren, for an NHL ticket. Don't you?
It's great. Really good. I mean, I can go down to Buffalo and get a ticket at a similar price, I think, $30, $40. I mean, they're not great. But yeah, especially upstairs. Yeah, that's good.
Well, and that's the thing. He's like, what are tickets? $4. The days of the empty rink are gone. The 6 fans, they make fun of all. They've got the Stanley Cup guy. Okay? They're one of the top teams in attendance. You can stop with it. But you know what? These are narratives that oh my God, it's happened. It's happened. I'm a permanent resident of the United States.
I told you something flipped, man. When the calendar flipped from 24 to 25, something changed. It's gone.
I'm okay with it.
It's gone. It's left in 2024. You left it.
Yep. That's right. We, as Florida hockey fans, are tired of fighting this. Which reminds me, that's another thing. Navy Don, writes in from Ottawa, and he says, Americans' chests are always puffed out, no matter what the situation. I realized this when I was having lunch with Johnny O a couple of weeks ago from Johnny O's Gymnasium. You've seen him on this show. He was asking me some questions about Canada. And just so you know, he's no dummy. What I found out over that lunch over here at the original Jamaican Cafe was that the gym is just for fun. That's not where he makes all his money. That explained a lot as we were talking. But he knew nothing about Canada. He doesn't care anything about Canada. Doesn't need to. So that whole thing that we say growing up in Canada, those Americans are so dumb. They don't even know. They don't even know how to say Ottawa. They don't even know. They don't even know where with it. Do you live in igloos up there? Here's the difference. They don't care. They mind their own business. And just so you know, they've won the last 2 World Juniors. So I don't need to sit here and stand up for them, but it's like it's a perspective. It's a shift. It's not arrogance. Mind your own business. Okay? It's hard living next to America because, as they say, it's like sleeping with an elephant. Every time the elephant farts, rattles you out of bed. But it is what it is. Any thoughts?
No, I keep going. This is good. The elephant line is new. You never cease to surprise me with another one-liner.
Oh, that's a really old one. It's not me. That's a really, really old one. Living next to America is like sleeping with an elephant. Every time it moves, you feel it. I added the farting part because it's funny.
How about that?
Utah Darren writes in and says, tickets in Utah are reasonable for next year. Who knows? Bro, that's sports now. That's the heroin. It's, we'll give you a little and then get you hooked. I'm glad that you at least appreciate that and recognize it, that's the way sports is now. BW in Edmonton says $60. That's 85 Canadian loonies. Well, my good friend Mike Lee, and you are over in, he is over in England right now with his beautiful wife, Jo, watching some soccer, holidaying over there, and their daughter, Rochelle. He says this, forget about the exchange. It's just the cost of doing business. I was with Kate Pedersen in Nashville. You all know Kate. Her father, Leaf, was a CFL great TV guy. She goes, it costs. She goes, I wake up every morning happy living in Nashville. She's a Canadian. I wake up happy every morning living in Florida. There's a cost to that. Mike just said, don't worry about the exchange. It is what it is. I never forgot that. Carlos in Indianapolis says, you were waiting to deliver that punchline, weren't you, Rod? No, I wasn't. On Trudeau and Chris Jones saying, don't quit your day job. That just literally dawned on me as I was telling the story. Chris Jones, don't quit your day job. And then he did. Darren, that's funny. Come on. You know it.
We got to get Jones on and ask him about it.
It's got a lot of free time now. Point 6, the Toronto Raptors host the Milwaukee Bucks in one of 9 games on tonight's NBA slate. The 8-27 Raptors, 13th in the 15-team Eastern Conference, face the 5th place Bucks, who are 17-16, and they've lost 2 in a row. Just throwing that out there. Raps and Bucks tonight over at Scotiabank Arena. We're going to take a timeout. Moose, you take a break. Smoke them if you got them. I'll see you back here in hour 2, okay? Sports Update is coming up next. We are live on the Game Plus TV network, streaming live, and podcast wherever the best podcasts are found.
Welcome to the Create Space at IKS Media. Meetings, podcasts, studio. Whether you're here to collaborate or educate, our versatile meeting places, workspaces, and studios await. Your next big idea starts here. Make our space your space. The Create Space at IKS.
Canada's premier Junior A Hockey League deserves premier coverage, and at IKS Media, we have you covered for all things SJHL. SJHL Weekly on Monday, a live broadcast across our social media platforms where we interview your favorite players and coaches from across the league and preview the upcoming week. And on Thursday, SJHL Insider, where we look ahead to the weekend that will be and cover everything going on across the league. Catch it all on our social media platforms or on sjhl.ca.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
From cash spiels to grand slams, club competitions to world championships, there's a lot to keep up with on the pebbled ice. Stay up to date with the Hardline Curling Show, your weekly source for everything curling, with the latest event results, breaking news, interviews with players, executives, and insiders, plus behind-the-scenes access you won't get anywhere else. Follow us on Facebook, X, Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube. Make sure you don't miss a thing.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Trying to remember the year. Okay, here we are. 5 minutes, Clark says. Just hang on. This is just, what a day, dude. You can't ignore the day the Prime Minister quits. And in a second, they'll put this. So I'm going through my Facebook. I'm trying to find out when that was. It was 2016. Riders practiced on Parliament Hill, the Rough Riders. And there is JT, Justin Trudeau, with my longtime color commentator, Carm Carteri, the Italian stallion, the macaroni pony. And Chris Jones, our head coach, told Trudeau, don't quit your day job. Sometimes the jokes write themselves. Yeah. Break on this Monday. From the Canadian Football League, the BC Lions announced this morning the team has acquired American offensive lineman Dejan Allen in a trade with the Toronto Argonauts. In return, the Lions send national linebacker Ryder Varga and their round two selection in the 2026 CFL draft to Toronto. Dejan Allen has been a CFL All-Star the last 2 seasons, East Division All-CFL recipient 3 years in a row, and 2-time Grey Cup champion. Meanwhile, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers announced the club has agreed to terms on a 1-year extension with our good friend Pat Neufeld, because he is. Neufeld, 6'6", played at the University of Saskatchewan, born in Regina, Saskatchewan, returns in 2025 for his 11th season with the Blue Bombers. He's a Riffle Royal. A 3-time CFL All-Star, Patty appeared in 14 games last season. Originally drafted by Saskatchewan in 2010, Neufeld was acquired by Winnipeg in a trade in 2013. I did have fun. I always have fun. But on the weekend, in our 10 Things newsletter that our business manager, Joe Gunnis, so lovingly put together for the subscribers, I put our 25-year all-quarter century team with the Rough Riders. Patty wasn't on it. But because this is what got me thinking. Friday night, I was at the Panthers game, bought my ticket for $40 plus $20 in fees. And it was 90s night. So they played wonderful 90s music over the sound system. People were dressed in the 90s. I fit right in. Every day is 90s night for me. And then they announced their all quarter century team for the Florida Panthers. Who were they, you asked? Thanks for asking. Roberto Luongo in goal. On defense, Aaron Ekblad and Robert Svela. And up front, Alexander Barkov, Jonathan Huberdeau, and Matthew Tkachuk. Not bad. Got me thinking over the weekend, who are my 25-year anniversary teams for the Rough Riders, the Regina Pats? I called all those games, tens of thousands of hours on the air. And Newfield wasn't on it, but it was fun putting that together. A fun debate was created with the fans, and it is a good time of year to talk about these things on an otherwise slow day. Sports updates brought to you by Landmark Cinemas. In Landmark Cinemas now, Sonic the Hedgehog 3. Sonic the Hedgehog returns to the big screen in his most thrilling adventure yet. Sonic, Knuckles, Bob Irving, and Tails reunite against a powerful new adversary, Shadow, a mysterious villain with powers unlike anything they have faced before. Starring Idris Elba, Keanu Reeves, and Jim Carrey, Sonic the Hedgehog 3 is in Landmark Cinemas now. 902-518-3033 is the number to text us here in the studio. Kirk in Toronto. Hey, Rod. Luke Wilson for CFL Commish. Oh, yeah, for this Ontario boy. Well, they got to get a schedule out first. I saw that Scott in Vancouver writing in earlier saying, when's the schedule coming out? I don't know. We're talking about the things we do know, or at least things that are topical here today. Where will Tyreek Hill play next year? I guess I never answered. I said I think it will be Miami, despite him not finishing the game. That seems to be in vogue now. Are you realizing guys just saying, I'm not playing the second half? We saw that with the Miami Hurricanes. We've seen that with the DB linebacker for the 49ers. Why do you think they're doing it? Because their parents allowed them to do that. I'm not doing it. Oh, okay. That's the way it is. We got some great comments coming in. Alyssa Houde coming up in hour 2. Stick around, everybody, after this brief pause.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Welcome to the Create Space at IKS Media. Meetings, podcasts, studio. Whether you're here to collaborate or educate, our versatile meeting places, workspaces, and studios await. Your next big idea starts here. Make our space your space. The Create Space at IKS.
IKS Game Day wishes to congratulate the city of Estevan and Affinity Place on their brand new center ice display. This state-of-the-art score clock features 5 LED faces with full motion graphics, scoring integration, and our new Halo mounting system. If it's time for an upgrade, Let us show you how to deliver the best fan experience. You can find us at iksgameday.com.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience, in the seats or streaming to you. IKS Live continues to bring you the best seat in the house.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Right now, I'm wearing headphones, rocking it back old school radio days.
How about that?
And somebody said it looks like I'm plugged into a Walkman. And I remember when I got my first Walkman, because my brothers and I had to share it. And I was the youngest, so how often do you think I got it? And you had your case of cassettes, and then people started to crap on your music selection. And I'm like, then bring yours then! How many times did we have that conversation at parties?
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
I love when a plan comes together or when it's coming together. Welcome to Hour 2, everybody. Happy New Year, if that's your thing. Here we go. Game Plus, let's bring in Moose. I'm in the South Florida studio, and I refer Floridians and Florida NHL fans as we last hour. So as Darren said, it's happening. I didn't tell you as we were leaving the hockey arena, Darren, when the Montreal Canadiens were here a couple weeks back, and the Canadians beat the Panthers. Or maybe I did tell you. Bob Merrier texted me, the biggest Habs fan I know. You know him. You've been to his house, right? Texted me from Montreal. It's happening. I'm still laughing it's gone on today, but but it's happening. I read it to Serena. The Habs rebuild. It's here. It's happening. They are all that now. Man, it's going to be fun here in Hour 2. Just this 2024 to 2025 has just been this massive page turn. And we are live, and here's proof. Justin Trudeau announced his resignation as the Prime Minister of Canada this morning. And I'm not making, well, I have made jokes about it, but I'm not saying anything personal about him because I still pay taxes in Canada. I'm not like Theo. I don't need to have the government mad at me. So no. All I'm saying is when we practiced with the Rough Riders on Parliament Hill back in 2016, Trudeau came out and practiced with us. And he wasn't very good, but he's a politician. He's not an athlete. I didn't expect much. And Chris Jones, our coach, said, don't quit your day job. And today he did. But I know that you have thoughts on this turn of the page. What have you studied or heard about 2025, what it's going to, because last year was the year of karma, they said. I haven't really heard what this year is supposed to be.
No, I haven't either. But it just internally just feels like a big page turn. Like 2024 was a bit of a transition year. I just feel it in a lot of ways, and 2025 is you're settled. This is the feeling I get, just observing social, the world, everything else. We're settled a little bit, and now we're going to take some action and move forward on a lot of the things that we've been working on. Yeah, again, not necessarily talking about anything specific, just a gut feeling I have.
Yeah. No, that's why I asked. I'm not going to hold you to it. Some people might, but what did we say last hour? Let it go, right? Just ask for your thoughts. I'm not going to plan my life around them. Alyssa Houde's coming up this hour from Winnipeg Sports Talk and the brand new podcast, Chel, Chit Chat, out of Winnipeg. We have a lot of Jets fans that have tuned in today. Patrolman Pete writes in and says, and by the way, I'm here for the discussion of everything. It's working great when I said the plan's coming together. Last hour, we covered everything I wanted to coming out of the weekend. Can you guys at IKS hit the quick six show horn again just to re-up and we'll reset? We talked about the wild NFL Sunday, the coach firings coming out of NFL, the final weekend of the regular season. Doug Pedersen's out in Jackson. Gerard Mayo's out in New England. Mike McDaniel staying here in Miami. The fallout of that. We made our very quick picks for this upcoming wildcard weekend playoff games, but they're not our real picks. This is kind of what we're feeling, but we've got a week till Friday to make our real picks, and we'll see what happens with betting lines, injuries, blah, blah, blah. How Jordan Love's feeling for Green Bay. He left that game yesterday, right? Didn't he? Their loss to the Bears. He couldn't feel his arm. I think that's a bit of a problem for the quarterback, last I checked.
You think?
We talked about the world. Yeah, we talked about the World Juniors, USA winning again, 4-3 over Finland. NHL leftovers and the Raptors losing. They're always losing, but they're home tonight to the Milwaukee Bucks. I said that I went to the Panthers game Friday night where the Florida Panthers unveiled their all-quarter century team. And I don't know, I do really like that stuff. But I came up with my Rough Riders list. I enlisted some friends' help with that. Took a little flack for it because there were some personal biases in there. I sat there and thought, how could I be mad at the Hockey Hall of Fame or any Hall of Fame for snubs? Snubs are one thing. Putting in your buddies is one thing. Snubbing others is another thing. But I put Mike Abou-Meshrik in there. Probably shouldn't have. But I put Getzlaf in there, and people are like, oh, old Butterfingers Getzlaf. Man, I love him. So, yeah, he's on my list. I think that's how these committees work, Darren. I do. How about you?
You're learning how to play the game a little bit more. No, it's fun. It's fun, and it gets people talking, and it's all about discussion, and we go back and forth, and, maybe a couple of tweaks. I liked your all-century teams, or quarter-century teams. I thought they were pretty good. Yeah, okay, a boo, maybe. I don't know. I don't know who you'd replace him with necessarily if you have somebody off the top of your head ready to roll.
The guards should be Brennan Labatt and Andrew Green. Just they should be the guards.
Yes.
But I went with Andrew Green and Abu and snubbed Labatt. So, yeah, I'm getting how it goes. But I mean, I'm watching the listen. I'm at the Palm Beach Kennel Club yesterday in West Palm Beach with my friends watching the Patriots, and they're playing the Bills, right? And they were talking. The guys in the room were talking about Robert Kraft being snubbed by the Pro Football Hall of Fame committee. Wasn't even listed in the finalists. And they're just like, 6 Super Bowls? Come on. And I've been around the football people here in Florida enough. Well, Kraft has a place here. His sister lives here. I've told you that story. Like, literally, she lives in the same city as me. Yeah. Robert Kraft's sister. They're like, he's a great guy. But I think we all know why he's probably never going to get into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And it's, in a way, unfortunate. And I don't know what your take is. I don't want to make you uncomfortable, although I feel like I do it more than I intend. But what I also learned from the guy I was having a free buffet with yesterday, he goes, the NFL does have a standard. And they don't need any crap. And that's why Kraft won't go into the Hall of Fame, because they don't need to deal with picketers out front of Canton the night of the induction. You know what I mean?
Hey, we don't need distractions. It goes with teams, and NFL's big on that, And hey, I remember watching Entourage, okay, and you'll remember this too. Ari Gold was trying to bring a team to LA, but he was dealing with his own stuff, and he was on the phone with Jerry Jones, and he says, I love you, Ari, and I understand, and I hope you get through this, but the NFL doesn't do controversy, so you're out. That stuck with me. They don't do controversy. And controversy naturally is there, but they do everything they can to avoid it at all costs. and it's working pretty well.
I think we're getting somewhere today. 2024 was the year of karma. And I heard that going in. I just sat back and watched, and I'm like, yeah, I think it was, because I saw some people get their karma, man, and it was delicious. But I tell you on the phone this morning, karma is undefeated. And then this year, it's a new me in a lot of ways, too. I'm not sitting here ranting and raving. I'm not that guy. I'm not going to talk about the car blowing up in front of the Trump hotel in Vegas. I'm not going to even make jokes about it. It's not funny. Somebody died. Trudeau, I'm not getting into that. Because as somebody told me yesterday, these leagues, they don't need it. And we're being watched. So let's not be idiots for the first time ever. Seems to work well for me. Now, poll question, just if we will, because I never got your answer. Even though we extended our one time-wise and didn't have a guest, we still didn't really get to everything we should. A poll question today for EMJ Marketing. They'll provide the perfect keynote speaker for your event. Contact Joe at emjmarketing.com. Where will Tyreek Hill play next season? Because he refused to finish the game for the Dolphins yesterday. I shouldn't laugh, but I'm like, come on. The guy that got arrested by the cops on the way into the stadium earlier this year threw a fit and wouldn't finish the game, and people are acting like they're surprised. So your options are Kansas City, where he came from. Will he be back with the Dolphins, which is my vote? Will he be signed by the Jets because they do zany things, or other? And the last I looked, 67% of respondents are saying he'll be playing somewhere else. Other. It's not on your list. I never asked you who you would vote for in that scenario.
Yeah, to be honest, it's such a tough question because we don't know what's going to happen and where the quarterbacks are going to be. You know, that's the big thing. If you're Tyreek, you want to pick a coach you like, the quarterback you like. Like I could see him honestly going back to Kansas City. I really could, and playing on a small contract and playing with Patrick Mahomes and getting back to business. I really could. So today, I'll vote Kansas City, but I think there's a few different options.
Does he not?
Yeah.
It's fine. Does he not remind you of the guy that wears his welcome out? He kind of does to me. I've seen those guys come and go. Maybe he's worn out his time in Miami. Maybe it's not his decision whether he comes back. He led the NFL in receiving last season. Really nowhere close this season. He had only 2 catches yesterday. He threw a fit. He was emotional. I actually think he'll be back with the Dolphins. That's what I think. You were going to say something. I cut you off. What were you going to say?
What will Mike McDaniel do? Will he be able to convince him to come back? Like he's changed apparently. I don't know if this is real, but I saw it, in the break. He's changed his profile picture to Antonio Brown with shirtless leaving the field, last time with the Bucs. Peace sign. He's changed it to that. And it's like once you start going down that road, we don't do controversy. Teams don't want that around. Doesn't matter how good you are. You can be great, but we don't want the distraction. But one place I was going to mention, and now I don't know if it's going to, be a fit or not, is Cincinnati. They're going to probably lose T. Higgins. They got Jamar Chase. There's a great opportunity for number 2 with maybe the best quarterback in the NFL in Joe Burrow or one of them. That could be a fit too. I don't know. We'll see.
Carlos in Indianapolis writes in and he says, which teams need Tyreek Hill? You just named one. So it's way, way, way too premature to even say where he'll end up. And the playoffs haven't even started yet, but it's a reasonable conversation. By the way, we have not, before we get to our NHL breakaway picks, we got time to do it. I got written down Belichick. He did meet with the Jaguars. They couldn't come to an agreement. The Jags fired their coach today, Doug Pedersen, but they're keeping their general manager, and I think that's the problem Belichick had. Let's just leave it at that. Mike McCarthy in Dallas. I'm not letting the Cowboys hurt me anymore. I'll say this about emotionally detaching from a situation or a person. I think once you do, you can't get it back. I will still be a Cowboy fan, but I'm not allowing their antics to affect my mood. I don't think they ever will again. It's actually a good thing. Aaron Rodgers at 41 walked off the field yesterday, threw his 500th touchdown. Says he wants to take some time He wants to let the Jets discuss if they even want him back or not. It sounds like he was willing to wait to see what their take was on this. If I'm the Jets, I'd sell the team. Fold it is what I would do. They're not going to do that, though. So what? I'm not bringing him back. You're going to have a high enough draft pick. There's enough quarterbacks out there. I'd start over. But that's just me. You?
Not a great year for the quarterback in the draft, I don't think. At least that's the early accounts. There's a couple at the top. We talked about Cam Ward, Drew Sanders, but we're not really sure how deep it is. Can you get J.J. McCarthy out of Minnesota, potentially, if they go with Sam Darnold? You're not bringing Sam Darnold back. I think you got to wait and see. If you don't know that the year is going to be great, I could see them running it back with Aaron Rodgers. The fact that there's intrigue and you probably sell tickets. Maybe there's some disgruntled receiver in Garrett Wilson. You don't want to lose him. But I don't think Aaron Rodgers is going to retire. That's the one thing I don't think is going to happen.
Well, not too many guys walk away when they can still play. And it's very evident he can still play based on what he did yesterday. Liz Hood coming up from Winnipeg Sports Talk in the next segment. So get your Jets questions in. Rich in Edmonton writes in, he says, Aaron Rodgers won't return if Rex Ryan does. I don't think Rex Ryan is going to be the next coach of the Jets, no matter what he's putting out there.
But that'll happen first. The coach will happen first.
Brent in Wellington, Florida says, are there 15 better quarterbacks in the league? Better than Aaron Rodgers? Again, at some point, you're going to have to start over, so you might as well start out now. That's what I think. The NFL is not a year-by-year proposition like the CFL is with one-year contracts. You need to build. I would say start now. The sooner you start, the sooner you'll get to the end of this rebuild. You know what I'm saying? And by the way, with Tyreek Hill not finishing the game, Antonio Brown walking up. You get the Miami Hurricanes quarterback here, Cam Ward, didn't finish the Pop-Tarts Bowl. He set that NCAA record and then shut it down in the second half. Quit on his teammates. And there are people saying, well, I would never draft that guy. He's a potential first-round pick. He will be a first-round pick, Cam Ward. But that's life now. It's like that kid. I'm not finishing my supper. My mom would have me sit there until it was gone. Didn't matter if the lights were out and it was the next day. That's how I was raised. But now these kids are allowed to pull this shit. This is what we get. Okay? So that's not to say that you wouldn't want him quarterbacking your team despite these zany antics. Robert in Las Vegas watching. He says, you're right there, Darren. 2025 NFL draft is thin on quarterbacks. We got to go real quick in 30 seconds. Our breakaway bets tonight, NHL, Washington at Buffalo. Who wins?
Washington.
I agree. Vancouver at Montreal.
Vancouver.
Perfect. Les habitants for me. Ole, 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 ole. Florida. I'll take the Panthers. You?
Yeah, me too.
Devils at Kraken.
Ooh, I'll take the Devils.
Me too. Okay, Moose, you're done. Have a good one. Have a good afternoon.
You bet. See ya. Thank you.
Going to talk some Winnipeg Jets hockey and overall NHL when we come back with Alyssa and the Chel, Chit, Chat podcast. We're live on the Game Plus TV network, streaming live and podcast wherever the best podcasts are found.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience, in the seats or streaming to you. IKS Live continues to bring you the best seat in the house.
Text 902-518-3 3033. 902 518 3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902 518 3033.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
From cash spiels to Grand Slams, club competitions to world championships, there's a lot to keep up with on the pebbled ice. Stay up to date with the Hardline Curling Show, your weekly source for everything curling, with the latest event results, breaking news, interviews with players, executives, and insiders, plus behind-the-scenes access you won't get anywhere else. Follow us on Facebook, X, Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube. Make sure you don't miss a thing.
Canada's premier Junior A Hockey League deserves premier coverage, and at IKS Media, we have you covered for all things SJHL. SJHL Weekly on Monday, a live broadcast across our social media platforms where we interview your favorite players and coaches from across the league and preview the upcoming week. And on Thursday, SJHL Insider, where we look ahead to the weekend that will be and cover everything going on across the league. Catch it all on our social media platforms or on sjhl.ca.
Sounds like he knows what he's doing a little bit.
As long as you're entertained. Aren't you entertained?
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
RP Show continues. Hour 2 for Culligan Water. Clear water, clear choice. Filter out the bad and taste the good. Culligan Water of Regina. Check him out at culliganregina.com. We're talking some NFL. Bob writes in on the text line 902-518-3033. Bob from Saskatoon. He says, I would take Aaron Rodgers in Pittsburgh. Oh, just wait, Bob. The Steelers aren't even done yet. As promised, we're going to talk some NHL hockey now, and our viewers have some questions for Liz Houde from Winnipeg Sports Talk and the Chel Chit Chat podcast. Hey, Liz, Happy New Year, my girl. How you doing? How was the holidays?
I'm doing well. Holidays were great. Happy to be back with some hockey, though, and getting ready for some NFL playoffs coming up. So,
I wondered about that. You're a Manitoba gal. Did we establish who your NFL team is? Am I presumptuous in assuming it's the Vikings? Is it somebody else?
you would be presumptuous. I'm actually not a Vikings fan, but I might be pulling for them this year in the playoffs. I think it'd be fun for a run there. Unfortunately, your poll of the day on YouTube is about my guy, Tyreek Hill. I'm a Dolphins fan, so yesterday was a bit of a heartbreaker for me, but it is what it is. Life goes on. We're trying to forget about it.
Oh, my God. Okay. The most aggrieved fan base is what? Winnipeg Jets or Miami Dolphins? Which one has more pain they're carrying?
I gotta go Miami Dolphins. Maybe it's recency bias, but holy smokes, they haven't made the playoffs since I've been alive, so we're not doing so hot over there.
I gotta write this down. Oh, dude, they're ready to burn the stadium down here with the news that Mike McDaniel and the GM Chris Greer are going to be back. Well, since we're on that vein, can I just ask you, do you think Tyreek Hill will be back with the Dolphins? I think he was just blowing off steam. Or do you think that horse is out of the barn? Yeah.
I don't know. It's one of those things that, again, I'm such a hockey person that I feel like when I hear a comment like that, I'm like, oh my gosh, a hockey player would never say that unless they had already packed their bags and sold their house. But Tyreek Hill is a little bit of a different character, but he changed his profile picture to that Antonio Brown picture today on Twitter and stuff. So like it's continuing to percolate a little bit. I don't know. I kind of think he's as good as gone, but who's to say? I don't know.
Hey, you have figured it out. The difference between football people and hockey people. They're as different as the moon and the sun. They can't be. Oh, yes. Don't put any stock in what they say. Anyways, you came here to talk hockey, and the Jets fans want your opinion. Patrolman Pete writes in from Winnipeg, and he says, please, Liz, tell us that the Jets will stop being the 500 team they've been for the past month and go back to being the unstoppable Jets from the start of the season. I guess that's the $64,000 question. Which team are they?
Oh, for sure. And I think it's really interesting. It's been an interesting stretch of hockey as of right now while we're talking. They've lost their last 3, but those 3 games, in my opinion, were better performances than some of their wins in that 15-game winning streak to start the season, right? So there's a little bit of back and forth, I feel, with this team, but injuries and schedule are never an excuse, but holy smokes, that defensive core is banged up for the Winnipeg Jets right now. They are down to guys 6, 7, 8, 9 in the depth chart playing regular minutes. On Saturday, Logan Stanley was the top left-handed defenseman on that team while Josh Morrissey was getting some stitches for a period of time. That's how depleted they are back there. So with Dylan Sandberg and Hayden Fleury hopefully coming back in the next couple of days and weeks, I think we're hoping to see the team kind of pick it up a little bit. I feel as though the team is somewhere in the middle. They're definitely not a 500 team that we've seen from the last little bit. But I also don't think they're necessarily the top team in the NHL either. So somewhere in the middle, which is the worst answer ever, but it is the truth.
There's no wrong answer on that, I don't think. We'll find out come spring. There's no wrong answer today. John Ohm from Winnipeg, he's like the biggest Jets fan I know. He writes in, he says that, well, one of the biggest. He says the Jets need to tighten up the laces and play some smash mouth hockey. John represents a lot of Winnipeg hockey fans in that they want him going 82-0. Like, has there been any talk from the management people and even the coaches to, like, dial it back a little bit? Like, it would have been hard to keep up that pace all year. Impossible, actually.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, and I mean, I think the guys, when we speak with them, they all do refer back to the fact that they have been top of the league for most of the season now. They've flirted back and forth with second, third, but really never dipped below that. So they understand how impressive their record is, but they are pretty humble, and they come out and they talk to us when they play a poor game and they say we played a poor game. They're pretty transparent. I think that's a good thing because you can just cite, you could say we're the best team in the Central, we have been all year, and you can sort of hang your skates up on that if you want to, and that's not going to be a recipe for success. So I think the attitude is in the right place from the Winnipeg Jets right now.
John in Edmonton writes in and he says, Alyssa, what are your predictions for the Jets and the Blue Bombers for the rest of the season, and also the Winnipeg Sea Bears while you're at it? You want to take a swing at those?
Oh my gracious. Okay, we go 3 for 3 here. In terms of the Jets, I think they are going to, a lot of people look to past Winnipeg Jets seasons, and January has not been a hot month for the Winnipeg Jets of late. So I think once kind of the Four Nations face-off break and all that sort of stuff comes back, I do think come the end of the season, the Winnipeg Jets are finishing outside of a wildcard spot, is in their 1, 2, or 3 in the Central. I do think that some other teams have some room to heat up a little bit, but points in October are the same as points in April, and the Jets have a pretty good margin right now. So I think they'll do pretty well, and I think this team is better equipped to do better in the playoffs this year than previous years, but I'm not convinced that they're going to take 16 playoff wins necessarily unless they make a couple of changes. And then in terms of the Blue Bombers, I think this is going to be probably, in my opinion, the final run it back year. They've made a couple signings already in this offseason, and I think we're going to see a few more players come back and try and take one last crack at it before they maybe move on from some of their aging pieces of that core. I don't know where I fall in terms of predictions for how the Bombers will do this year, and I would never lie to your listeners here and say I'm a Bombers expert by any means, so you might want to hear the opinions from someone a little bit more educated than me, but I think that they, make the playoffs this upcoming year, and they have still an okay crack. Not sure it falls into the same camp as the last 5 years where they've been so strong. And the Sea Bears, bit of a tough offseason for them as well, and I hope that they just kind of rally together and have a strong season. Losing their captain was a really, really tough break for them this year, and my heart goes out to the posthumous family for that devastating loss. I hope the Sea Bears just rally together this year and lean on the city of Winnipeg and come together to play some good basketball.
Good answers. Good answers, as they say on Family Feud. Good answers. I mean, I think we need to just dial it back here and remember we're fans. Maybe we're supposed to be pundits, but nobody knows everything, by the way. So my point on all that, I was thinking about the Bombers. Why am I laying in bed at night in Florida thinking about the Grey Cup? But I'm like, the Bombers were down
It's in Winnipeg next year.
Yeah, well, it is. No, but I was thinking of last year's Grey Cup. And I'm like, the Argos led 17-16 going into the fourth quarter. And Zach Caleros ripped his finger. And that was the game. They were that close to winning the game. And all this hand-wringing has come out. Are the good times over? Are we a dynasty? Oh, my God. Let's dial it back a little bit. And then, you ever around that Jesse Pollock guy? The bar down guy in Winnipeg? You ever around him?
I'm familiar.
Okay. Well, he said how much he hates the Vegas Golden Knights as a Jets fan, and that's what he is.
Yeah.
Vegas is up a point on the Jets as we sit here today. Literally, are the Vegas Golden Knights the biggest nemesis of that town right now?
I would have to say so, yeah, right. I can't believe that the 2018 playoffs are getting to be like 8 years ago now or whatever, because that pain is fresh. Like, that was supposed to be the year. You know, that roster was pretty special, and Marc-Andre Fleury and the Vegas Golden Knights came and spoiled everything. That ragtag group of misfits, people wanted them to be a Cinderella story. Ugh. I was so mad about that. And then obviously kind of nail in the coffin 2 seasons ago, they also knocked the Jets out in 5 in the playoffs. And, you know, you thought maybe you could have a redemption arc, and no such luck from the Winnipeg Jets. So yeah, I would say generally speaking, obviously some Winnipeg Jets fans of, older generations, myself included, I don't even know why I fall into this camp, hate the Oilers and, you know, those teams that were kind of the nemesis of Jets 1.0. That frustration doesn't necessarily go away. But if we're talking kind of modern era, those Vegas Golden Knights, I don't think any of us are rooting for them.
Yeah, yet they're full of Winnipeggers and Manitobans, as you know. Arlen Bruce III is watching. Bomber is great. He says, great morning, RP. Hey, Alyssa, Grey Cup in 2025 at Winnipeg. Are you having a Grey Cup party? Arlen Bruce wants to know.
Well, we'll see. This past year, Winnipeg Sports Talk went to the Grey Cup. You know, Hustler went, Remus went, my colleague Connor went, and they had an amazing media alley. I know you spent some time with them there, Rod. It seems like the Grey Cup themselves, the Grey Cup Festival, is an amazing party. So I probably won't even need to throw one. I'll probably just be joining in all the festivities that the CFL and the Bombers have planned in Winnipeg. And hopefully lots of people come by, lots of tourists come into town to watch the event, and they get to experience all the amazing stuff that the city of Winnipeg and the province of Manitoba have to offer.
There will be a Grey Cup party, Winnipeg Sports Talk at the Pony Corral on Portage. I'm announcing it now. And my good friend Peter Janakis,
I will be there.
Okay. Rich in Edmonton writes in. He says, are the Jets going to run Hellebuck into the ground before the playoffs even start again?
That's an interesting one for sure, because I think a lot of people, this is not necessarily a comment towards Rich or anybody else, but a lot of people have that comment specifically in Winnipeg. They say they're running Hellebuck too much. He's playing too much. But Connor Hellebuck, when he comes out and speaks to the media, says, I want to play. He is extremely adamant with the organization that he wants to play as much as he can. He doesn't want breaks. He doesn't want rest. He wants to feel hot and ready going into the playoffs. So Connor Hellebuck kind of dictates, I think, his own usage. And so they, I think, would be willing and able to give him a little bit more rest. And who knows, maybe this year they'll have even a little bit more of a cushion. So maybe they'll want to give him more rest. But in the past couple of years, they've been able to rest him had they wanted to, had he wanted to. And they opt not to, because Connor Hellebuck is he pushes for a lot of playing time. So we'll see if that's what continues to happen this year. Maybe the organization pushes back a little bit and says, we need you to be restful, especially since he is going to be playing in the Four Nations Face-Off tournament. So he's not going to have that break either. So it'll be very interesting to see. But when you have the best goaltender in the world, it's difficult not to give him what he wants. And if he says he wants to play, sometimes you just got to let him play.
Yeah, well, I don't know who said it. But whoever said, if you listen to the fans, you'll soon be sitting with them. Fans don't understand that it's a different time with recovery. You see players, Aaron Rodgers playing to 41. Some of the best goalies in the NHL are late 30s now, right? Marc-Andre Fleury, Bobrovsky here. Like, it's not like it used to. It's not 1985 anymore. Okay? You can play these guys a lot, and as everybody's pointing out, and yourself included, especially if they want to.
Yeah.
You
exactly
have a new project, Chel, Chit, Chat. Tell us about that, please, Liz.
Yeah, I'm super stoked about it. You catch me on the 30 days out mark. So in a month, we're launching the podcast. It's a new project I've been working on for a little bit now. And it's kind of all about women in hockey. I'm super fortunate that, as a woman in hockey, I've learned so much over the last couple of years through different experiences, such as this and more. There's so much that I feel like, generally speaking, like you said, from the fan level, we don't know about hockey, the career opportunities that exist in hockey, the women that are kind of driving the bus behind the scenes. There's so much going on in hockey that you don't know, So what I want to do is kind of shed some light on / bring to kind of the forefront some conversations about some really important topics and build a bit of a resource for women who are interested in kind of growing their own career in hockey. So it's going to be 10 episodes of a podcast, YouTube, all that kind of stuff. And every episode is a how-to something. So if you want to talk about, maybe freelancing and journalism and stuff like that, you want to talk about, building a personal brand, about how to create your own career as an individual and as an influencer and stuff like that. So bringing in some experts on those areas, some really influential women in hockey to talk about that stuff and so much more.
Well, go follow Liz Houde. All the links are there to Chel, Chit Chat. You're doing a great job. I love following your stuff. Thanks for the time, Liz. All the best of 2025.
We'll see you next time. Take care.
Liz Houde from Winnipeg Sports Talk and Chel, Chit Chat. When we come back, a sports update and viewer takeover the rest of the way. You guys are punchy today. You got a lot to say. We'll get it off your chest when we come back. We're live on Game Plus TV. Live streaming as always, and podcasts wherever the best podcasts are found.
Sounds like he knows what he's doing a little bit.
As long as you're entertained. Aren't you entertained?
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
Canada's premier Junior A Hockey League deserves premier coverage, and at IKS Media, we have you covered for all things SJHL. SJHL Weekly on Monday, a live broadcast across our social media platforms where we interview your favorite players and coaches from across the league and preview the upcoming week. And on Thursday, SJHL Insider, where we look ahead to the weekend that will be and cover everything going on across the league. Catch it all on our social media platforms or on sjhl.ca.
Welcome to the Create Space at IKS Media. Meetings, podcasts, studio. Whether you're here to collaborate or educate, our versatile meeting places, workspaces, and studios await. Your next big idea starts here. Make our space your space. The Create Space at IKS.
902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Okay, everybody. Welcome back to the program. Live on Game Plus. Hour 2 brought to you by our friends at Culligan Water. Visit them at culliganregina.com. Sports update, as I promised. And I should mention 902-518-3033 is the number to reach us here in the studio. I'm just perusing the comments here. Nothing really interesting me right now from the chat feed. Maybe something will in the sports update. Hang on. There it is. The Montreal Canadiens will face the injury-hit Vancouver Canucks in one of 4 matchups on tonight's NHL slate. Canucks are without Quinn Hughes, Thatcher Demko, and Elias Pedersen for the opener of the 5-game road trip. Habs have won 7 of their last 10 games. I'm trying to bring it all together here now from what I heard from the viewers today. I picked the Habs to win. Darren picked Vancouver. Interestingly enough, the Canucks are Darren's number 2 team. The Leafs are his number 1. But on this NHL vein, BW in Edmonton, probably still watching right now. He wrote in earlier with regards to the Florida Panthers announcing their all-quarter century team on Friday night. I was at the game. Pittsburgh Penguins were here. And the all-star team, the number 1 team for the Panthers for the last 25 years were forwards Alexander Barkov, Matthew Tkachuk, Jonathan Huberdeau, defense Aaron Ekblad, Robert Spala, and in goal Roberto Luongo. BW wrote in and said, I'm surprised Pavel Bure wasn't on that list. And I got to go back and check the hockey DB. I don't think he played here in the last 25 years. Was he not a late 90s guy? I mean, I could look it up real fast, but somebody else want to do that? Somebody else want to do my work for me? But one of the most interesting things for me in this massive life change of moving to South Florida is the amount of NHL fans there are. We all think, like the guy that wrote in here earlier, Scott from Vancouver, there's 6 fans and an empty rink and the team sucks. And no. They've been to the last 2 Stanley Cup finals. They draw 19,500 per game. And when they weren't in the rink, they were still following the NHL. And like the biggest names here, like my mechanic, I'm going to pick up my Jeep after this. It needed a new cylinder and new spark plugs. I'm going to pick it up after. And a few years ago, because I've had that Jeep now for over 3 years, Mike, my mechanic, love him, great guy. I told him that I'd had Ed Jovanovski on the show, our Panthers podcast. He's like, oh, Jovo. I didn't think he would know a puck from a stuffed turkey. They know. They know. They know Jovo. They know Bill Lindsay. They know Roberto Luongo. They bring up John Van Beesbrook a lot, and they bring up Pavel Bure a lot here as a fan favorite. So they don't necessarily have always gone to the games, but they watch the games on television. Dolphins are another story that we won't get into because you didn't ask. The Toronto Raptors host the Milwaukee Bucks in NBA play tonight. Toronto's has just one win in their last 13 games, and they sit 13th in the East. The Bucks are led by NBA scoring leader Giannis Antetokounmpo. Milwaukee tied for 5th in the East. Doug Pedersen is out as head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars after a 4-win season. Owner Shad Khan made the move with 1 year left on Pedersen's deal, but retained GM Trent Baalke. Pedersen went 23-30 in Jacksonville far from the Super Bowl success he achieved with Philadelphia. So hang on to that for a second. I got to stop eating these granola bars in the middle of commercial breaks. That's what I'm doing here. Doug Pedersen, poor guy. I like him. I like any football guy that wears a visor. I do. He had the great success in Philadelphia, clashed with the owner, I believe, Jeffrey Lurie. There with the Eagles, who's going to win that one, right? Pedersen out. It's been a tumultuous couple of years in Jacksonville, a team that, they made the playoffs a couple of years ago. But overall, 23-30 is his record, and he kind of let it spill in a news conference earlier this season about the culture of the organization being bad. And like the next day, he walked it back and tried to dance around it and basically take it back. But it was kind of a glimpse into what's going on in Jacksonville. It's not good. And so the meandering story I'm getting to here is this next story on the Sports Wire. The Jacksonville Jaguars are home after spending 7 hours waiting through a winter storm at the Indianapolis International Airport. Jaguars dropped a 26-23 decision to the Colts Sunday. Their charter flight was cleared to leave early Monday morning and landed in Jacksonville 2 hours later. So imagine this. You're Doug Pedersen, you're the coach, and you know you're going to be fired. And you got to sit on the tarmac for 7 hours, coming home waiting to be fired. How much would that suck? But it's not like we haven't gone through that. Like I tend to forget this and realize I think if you get paid enough, you can put up with enough. But in a way, smallish potatoes, very small potatoes compared to this, but December 2009, I was called into a meeting with the general manager and owner of the Regina Pats Hockey Club and told that I need to pick between being the voice of the Pats and the voice of the Rough Riders because I've been doing both teams for 11 seasons. And they said, you're just too focused on the Rough Riders, so you need to make a choice. Pick one, Pats or Riders. And I was like, well, that's an easy choice. And he goes, oh, great. Are you going to tell the Riders that you're done or am I? I said, I'm not quitting the Rough Riders. It denigrated from there, but he was like, I thought you were a hockey guy, he said. I said, I am, but I'm not giving it. We were at the peak of Rider pride at the time. We just came out of the Grey Cup. I'm not going back to junior hockey. Anyways, he said, why don't you just sit on it till the end of the year? Maybe you'll change your mind. I'm like, I'm not changing my mind. The fact that you would make me pick has made my mind up. But he's like, wouldn't accept the resignation. And I went till the end of the year. And then right after that last game, I'm out because I knew. So sometimes you got to eat crap and chew nails. And that's what Doug Pedersen did for the last few months, let alone 7 hours on a tarmac, knowing you're going to be fired. What would you do? Can't plan for next year. Play cards, I guess. The BC Lions announced this morning the team has acquired American offensive lineman Dejon Allen in a trade with the Toronto Argonauts. In return, the Lions send Canadian linebacker Ryder Varga of Regina Sask and their second-round pick next year to the Argos. Allen has been a CFL All-Pro the last 2 seasons, East Division All-Star 3 years in a row, and is a 2-time Grey Cup champion. Sports updates brought to you by Seat Giant. Stop paying U.S. dollars for games and concerts. Canadian-owned and operated with Canadians in mind. Super Bowl, college football, Taylor Swift, Justin Timberlake. We've got it all. Use promo code RPShow for 15% off now. Check us out at SeatGiant.ca. When we come back, all viewer takeover because I just read the sports update. So get your comments in on all the topics we've covered today so wonderfully. 902-518-3033 or the streaming chat. We'll be right back for overtime after this on Game Plus TV, streaming live and podcast wherever the best podcasts are found.
cash spiels to Grand Slams, club competitions to World Championships, there's a lot to keep up with on the pebbled ice. Stay up to date with the Hardline Curling Show, your weekly source for everything curling, with the latest event results, breaking news, interviews with players, executives, and insiders, plus behind-the-scenes access you won't get anywhere else. Follow us on Facebook, X, Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube. Make sure you don't miss a thing.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Sounds like he knows what he's doing a little bit.
As long as you're entertained. Aren't you entertained?
Welcome to the Create Space at IKS Media. Meetings, podcasts, studio. Whether you're here to collaborate or educate, our versatile meeting places, workspaces, and studios await. Your next big idea starts here. Make our space your space. The Create Space at IKS.
Hi, my name's Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Okay. We're back here for overtime, and I got a question for you. Hi. Is that me?
How about that?
There we go. Do you have a winter birthday in your house? And is the birthday girl or boy obsessed with hockey like the rest of us? With state-of-the-art equipment, spacious shooting lanes, and games for all ages, Overtime Hockey Lanes is the perfect destination to build teams. Whether you're from the Calgary area or if you're on a road trip from out of town, birthdays, team building, office parties, you name it, book your lanes today. 28th Street, Northeast Calgary. I like to think this is, we've changed. You have to change. You need to evolve. We're a little like Canada's Dan Patrick show, minus the talent of the host. But it's like we start the show, we throw the topics out there, and then we sum things up or try to put a bow on it at the end. A couple of hours later, get the answers to the questions we've asked. And one of those things is Pavel Bure. BW in Edmonton brought up a really good point. And he said, surprised that the Florida Panthers all quarter century team didn't have Pavel Bure on it. And I did just look it up. He did play 99-202. So that is right in the wheelhouse. And how about some fairly eye-popping numbers? 94 points the first season, 92 points the second season, and then was injured in the third season, but still put up 27 points. He wasn't on the first team, and let me check the second team. He made the second team. Ole Jokin in the center, Sam Reinhart, Pavel Bure on the flanks. Svela Bolmeister on the point. Bob in goal. Oh, yeah, Gustav Forsling was the first team D-man. Not that you cared. 902-518-3033. El Sasko writes in. He's got some good stuff here. That's formerly fake gainer. He's having an identity crisis. He changes his name regularly. This guy who's texted in. He says, hey, Rod. Hey, Uncle Rod and future Prime Minister Moose. Solid show. Listen, Moose would make a fantastic politician. Fantastic. Has anybody talked to him about that? And what I mean by that is not the fact that he doesn't like to pick a side or doesn't like to make a decision. Not that. He has a delicate way of handling things that I clearly don't. Yeah. I think there's a little more goes into being the prime minister than not hurting people's feelings. Because as we've learned from Justin Trudeau, the more you try to not hurt people's feelings, you hurt more feelings in the end. And we get what we have today. But again, we're staying out of the political discussion because we have vastly different views on this show ourselves amongst the staff. So we stay out of it. Rather not argue. Bob in Saskatoon writes in, yeah. He says Tomlin's time may be over in Pittsburgh. And he goes on to say, Josh Morris should start wearing a full face mask. Hollywood good looks, but more pucks to the face, he'll look like Jerry Cheever's goalie mask. It's his face, it's his life. You're welcome. And as far as Mike Tomlin goes, the Steelers were 10-7. They're in the playoffs, and that was with a new quarterback face. I'm enjoying the talk, though, about what if they don't win in Baltimore. Who's kidding who? They probably won't. Do you bring Russell Wilson back? Do you go with Justin Fields? I mean, it's so easy. I feel like those NFL hosts are really stealing money because the storylines are just plentiful. They start the year with Justin Fields because Russell Wilson isn't available. Both are in year one there. Then they jump out to what, a 4-0 start-ish, and then 5-1 under Fields. Sit him down when Russell Wilson is available, and they go on this run, and Mike Tomlin looks like a genius. And now they're limping into the playoffs on a 4-game losing streak with Russell Wilson, and people are saying, can you bring him back? It's all poppycock. And it's what we do in this sports talk business because it doesn't really matter. We all got to wait until Saturday night to see what the Steelers do at Baltimore. That will answer your question. But to sit and say, well, again, Tomlin's fine. He'll be coaching in Pittsburgh probably almost as long as he wants to be. I like this one. Ron in Calgary writes in from the 403. He says, hey, Rod, great show. Rod is way too nice to be in politics. LOL. I wouldn't go that far. I'm nice now. Never used to be. Part of that is because I saw so many bad guys getting ahead in sports and in media. I'm like, I guess I got to be a bad guy to get ahead. So I tried it. Didn't work, and I didn't like it. But over that period of time, I had 3 times I had political parties coming to me and ask me to run. And that includes the federal conservatives and the Sask party in Saskatchewan. And in each time I said, I'm not interested. Nope. One guy went so far as to say, but you have the trust of the people. And I said, yep. And I'm not interested in losing it. Thanks. Not even close to interested to doing it. And still not. I don't think I'll ever do it. because the one guy with the federal conservatives, he goes, you got to be really careful of what you like on Facebook and what you share and who you're friends with. And I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. I got to deal enough with that now, let alone more so as a politician. Thanks. No thanks. It ain't ever going to happen. Write it down. That's one guarantee that I can make right now. Rod will not be going into politics. Allie in Texarkana writes in, she is a Steelers fan. She goes, they won't fire Tomlin. I agree, Rod. John in Edmonton says, Rod, why does the NFL still call it the wild card games this weekend? All but one team in the conference play in it. It's hardly a wild card round anymore. It's called a wild card round because the wild card teams are in it. That's why. Don't examine these things too much, John. Just enjoy the games. B. Henderson writes in from Winnipeg, says, Rod, the U.S. needs you to be president. I can't. I wasn't born here. They asked. John Ohm says, don't tick Rod off. Right, Rod? Rod couldn't do politics. It's not that I couldn't. I could. I don't want to. This has been great. Nice work, crew. We'll see you all again tomorrow. Here tomorrow. Be good. Noon Eastern Tuesday.
McFly, hello.